In this module, we'll talk about how to implement dynamic DNS. As we talked about in the previous chapter about DHCP, one of the benefits of dynamic DNS is that it lets clients automatically add their DNS resource records to your zone files. So rather than have you going in and making changes to host records or adding new host records every time a new computer is brought online, or even worse, every time a computer reboots and gets a new IP address, you have to update their IP address, their mapping record. You let the clients do it automatically. Remember, the clients can do it depending on what operating system, or the DHCP server does it, adds the record to the DNS zone file. The records are added based on their fully qualified domain name. Clients register their IP address with their fully qualified domain name, and the fully qualified domain name is based on the primary DNS suffix for the computer. If you want to know what your primary DNS suffix is, look at the properties of your computer, open up the System Properties applet through Control Panel, and then on the Computer Name tab is where this information can be found. Full computer name tells you that information, change, and then in the More section, here's the primary DNS suffix of the computer. Notice also that automatically the primary DNS suffix changes when domain membership changes. Right now, this computer is not part of any type of a domain, so the DNS suffix is set manually. Your clients, as part of an Active Directory domain, would probably have this all automated anyway. So you typically only have to worry about setting your primary DNS suffix if you are not participating in a domain. It's important to note when clients update their configured DNS server with their new information or with updated information. Clients update dynamic DNS if DNS is configured to be dynamically updated when an IP address is added, removed, or modified for a client computer, or when an IP address lease changes or renews with that DHCP server, and this can be done with the ipconfig/renew. You renew your IP address, and then the client updates DNS with its latest mappings. Or the ipconfig/register DNS command can be used to manually force a refresh of the host record, the IP address to hostname mappings. Startup time is another time when clients update dynamic DNS, or when a member server is promoted to a domain controller. And the reason why this is done is not only is it potentially that the IP address changes, but also some of the records associated with that computer change as well. SRV records need to be to the domain to signify that that computer is now a domain controller as well. How do we actually implement a dynamic DNS? You do this on a zone-by-zone setting. So select your zone, right-click, look at the properties, and then from the General tab, you set this from the dynamic updates. Now, if your computer is not a domain controller, then the only thing you can do is turn this on and off. Right now, it was off when we set up the zone file. We turn it on with non-secure and secure. We'll be able to select just secure updates only. We'll have a third option once we upgrade our zone type to Active Directory integrated, but that's not possible right now. So we'll talk about that in future module. For now, we just turn it on by allowing non-secure and secure dynamic updates. We click on Apply and then OK, and now I've just implemented dynamic DNS. And in so doing, your life as an administrator of DNS is going to become a whole lot easier.